Okay, boys and girls, as you can tell, the sunlight is down. I spent quite a bit of time on this one, really just testing it. But PLDR, Ellen, double stun, or Ellen and support, right? Or Ju Fufu and support. I tested it all. Man, there was a lot that I did, a lot of fun, and I actually got to learn new Ellen, which is something that I haven't given myself time to do for a little bit. I'm still trying to learn all the ins and outs about this character as far as like what she's able to do now with her cancels, which Icy Blade feels like a good and a bad thing. I think it's just timing. The timing as a whole might be a thing, but ultimately, right? Let's talk about Ellen and Ju Fufu as a core, and then we're gonna talk about some of the different supports, double stun, and things like that. So starting things off with the overview for the most part, I'm running pretty much a standard Ellen. My stats are not on that average that I did from the previous video or the average player video. I'm actually trying to get these kills or as high possible with these points. Now, mind you, I am by no means the like cracked out Ellen main today, okay? My scores, especially in Deadly Assault for Marionette, are low, and I've seen people kill Marionette with Ellen. So there's clearly something that I'm not doing correctly. Which I'm gonna have to go in the hyperbolic time chamber and just learn that for myself. I can't afford to like learn it, wait on it, and then deliver the video for you guys, because by that point it's just never coming. So we'll see. Again, maybe I'll do some stuff on stream where we kind of like test some stuff out. I have recently built my Sokaku, so now she should be 55 out of 60, something like that, with like level E. I don't know. Anyway, point being is that you're getting back to the actual video at hand, right? I mostly tested Ellen with Ju Fufu and Sokaku, and then Ellen with Ju Fufu and Lighter. I wasn't really a fan of using Lycan in Ju Fufu. It's not bad, but it does kind of feel like you're doing more or less the same thing, in my opinion. Lycan being on the field is okay. He does get to do on-field stunning very quickly, and then Ju Fufu backing him up. But with the new rework to Ellen, Ellen also likes being on the field a little bit more often, or actually a lot more often, due to Glacial Blade and Icy Blade both being these long extended moves. And in order to get to Glacial Blade, you need to be able to do a lot of scissor cancels in between what's going on. Thankfully, they gave us a parry, so you can actually get away with that now. Or you should be doing open free game, or rather you should have open attacks against some of these enemies. Now with the newer enemies, they are way more aggressive than they used to be whenever 1.0 was here with Ellen. So they're not giving you the opportunity to just sit there and attack for free. That's where your off-field stunners is supposed to come into play. And a lot of what I'm doing or incorporating with Ellen during my gameplay is swap canceling out of the Icy Blade and trying to figure out like, okay, going to Sokaku, do an EX skill here, or maybe going to Ju Fufu, do an EX skill there, or her dash attack. Honestly, whatever floats my boat to get the job done. But the builds, I don't know how I didn't tell you guys about that part. 4-piece woodpecker, that's my bad. With a 2-piece branching blade is what I'm going with Ellen. Pretty standard at this point. I was speaking with R2 and Nats about this. Woodpecker is rivaling what Hormone Punk was at one point, right? Hormone Punk was like her best disk drive set for the damage output, but right now Woodpecker is rivaling that. And to my understanding, in some fights, is actually beating it out. Ju Fufu, same thing as before. We're either running the 4-piece King of Summit if she's the only stunner on the field, or we're running 4-piece Swing Jazz if I'm pairing her up with Lycan or Lighter. And then I do have Sokaku on the, I believe I put her on 4-piece Astral with a 2-piece Energy. Yeah, 2-piece Swing Jazz. Now, I did not play Ellen with Astra. I mean, I did. I played Ellen, Astra, and Ju Fufu. I don't like it, to be completely honest. It's not that it's bad. It definitely works. The reason that I don't like it is because you can't take advantage of the freeze, so you're completely dependent on trying to one-shot the enemy. If you can't kill, same thing that I told you guys in a previous video, Evelyn, if you can't kill something in that one stun window, maybe the second stun window, you are wasting time, especially going against some of these newer bosses in the game like Palicus, because if you don't take Palicus out, we all know how much of a bitch Palicus is. You leave one of them alive, or you don't kill them in the first stun window, or you don't stun them both at the same time, then they go into that whole invincible mode where like, hey, I'm just throwing blades and I'm gonna waste at least 10 to 15 seconds of your time. So you do want to be able to take them out as quickly as possible. The same thing goes for some of the other enemies. Like, we can actually go ahead and talk about Tepes. Tepes was a very interesting fight for me because Tepes was a perfect example of what I was referring to in my previous videos about matchups. So when it comes to Ellen versus Tepes, this is a pretty fair fight for her. This isn't something that's super hard. It really just depends on like the opening that Tepes gives you. Some of his attacks do double parries and it only takes away 1 point, so you're good on that, but then others are full on points. So in a situation where you're double stunning with Lycan or Lighter, it doesn't matter if it's Hugo as your DPS or Ellen as your DPS, if you have bad RNG with Tepes's punches, you're just kind of cooked, because neither of these agents have a heavy assist, meaning that every time they hit parry, it takes away 2 meters or 2 bars. But a heavy assist character like Sokaku, well, she only takes away 1. And so when you're playing, in the event you get unlucky, 1, 2, 3, that's it, you're gone. And you need 4 parries, from what I'm counting right, to be able to break 1 arm from Tepes. So you're automatically locked out if you just don't get 4 parries. With Sokaku on the team, you're guaranteed 4 parries. And, you know, obviously if you don't keep clicking on Ju Fufu, but you're guaranteed 4 parries with Sokaku. And after you get that 4th parry, you do the impair, it refills your assist meter. That's kind of the goal there. So when I say matchups, it's a lot easier to fight Tepes with Sokaku, and you get more freezes. There's a lot more freeze opportunities with Sokaku. Doesn't matter if you're running impact, doesn't matter if you're running anomaly mastery, or even attack percent, because you need it. There are a lot of different options that you have with Sokaku that make her really good as, you know, in my opinion, Ellen's best support at this point. Astra, again, is an amazing support, but I feel like Astra is one of those characters where, like, as long as you know you're going to one-shot, you're going to take out all that HP, then it's awesome. There's even a clip that I have here. There's one versus Guzzlord, and there's one versus Palacus. I actually fought Yixuan with Palacus because I needed to get to side 2 with Heidi in order to fight him with Ellen, so I had to put something on the field. Now, this is my first time fighting Palacus with Yixuan. I literally just went in with the same game plan I did with Guzzlord, and surprisingly, Yixuan's orb, her gravity orb, is amazing at CC. I love this thing. It's literally like a longer version of Nicole's orb, but it does way more damage. And to be able to pretty much one-shot the marionettes without even doing my full combo for Yixuan was crazy. And mind you, I'm actually using Qing Yi with this particular team. I believe I had Yixuan, Qing Yi, and Astra on the field. And this is a perfect example of what I mean by one-shotting. In this clip, you're gonna see the HP bar just melt, right? Like, it's just gone. Every single chain attack, the orb is the last thing that hits. The ultimate is just wiping away both of their HP bars, which is perfect because now I don't have to worry about a second stun. I don't have to worry about the invincible phase. And this is where Astra truly shines. When you have an Astra on your team, you know your DPS is hitting like a truck, and you can take this thing out in one go. The whole point of Hypercarry in any game is so that you pretty much bum rush the enemy. You don't have to worry about any of their mechanics. You don't care about their defense, nothing, right? And so, like, that's the whole purpose of putting Astra on a lot of these teams, is so that you don't have to play the game. And I don't mean physically play the game. I mean legit, you don't have to worry about their mechanics. It's gone, right? I.e. Palacus. So when I'm doing this, we're trying to do this with Ellen, Ju Fufu, and Astra. Unfortunately, I'm just missing out on that damage. And Ju Fufu not having a stun damage multiplier like Qing Yi or Trigger, not having the bonuses to the ice damage and the ice shred, the ice red shred that Lighter brings to the table, not including any W engines, it makes it a little bit more difficult to run just Ju Fufu and then depend on Astra, and somehow with an average or a slightly above average Ellen build, DPS build, whatever, you're trying to take these enemies out. Mind you, these enemies are still packing a lot of HP. They still have their defenses. These aren't easy enemies to take out, especially for a 1.0 DPS, revamped or not. Her multipliers never changed. They just gave her new moves. But if I move over to Heidi, Heidi is actually a really good example of showing you guys both the double stun comp and the support comp, or standard comp, right? With Sokaku or with Astra. And it shows you that it's very strong, it's very solid. And no matter what, I was pretty much getting a 2 stun cycle, but because I was able to stun very quickly, with like double stun, for instance, I pretty much got out of the stun. And in a matter of like 2-3 seconds, I re-stunned Heidi and it was just gone. So this is just a matter of me cleaning up my gameplay. I'm pretty sure if I'm able to maybe do some cancels or probably create a better combo or rotation and make sure that my buffs are still up at the same time, I could probably one-shot the boss, right? That might depend on if I'm running Astra or Sokaku. Really just depends on what's going on there. I'll figure it out over time, or maybe if you guys are playing the game, you'll figure it out over time. But ultimately, I had a lot of fun with both sets of the team here. After that, we went straight to marionettes. Now, originally, and I don't know if I have this gameplay or not, so just bear with me, or rather believe me when I tell you, I was dog shit when fighting marionettes for the first time with Ellen and Ju Fufu and Sokaku or Astra. my scores were like 21k, 23k. I think whenever I added double stunner with Lycan and lighter, I got up to like 27, and then I added Ju Fufu and lighter and I got to like 30. These are not great scores, and I don't say that like, oh, you know, if you got 27k you're clearing. I don't say that like you're bad. I don't say like these scores don't matter. I'm saying that for the sake of me testing and what I'm trying to get accomplished, these were not great scores. So moving into the actual gameplay, I went back, I researched a little bit more about the new Ellen. I looked at some of the different things that she could do. I figured out, okay, like this is her new B&B. These are when my freeze opportunities are gonna happen. This is how I make more freeze opportunities happen. There was a couple different things that I could have done to clean up the gameplay further, but for now, I went with the basics and a little bit more of some like slightly advanced stuff. After that, my score drastically improved. I went from like 20 to 21k with the Ellen, Ju Fufu, and Sokaku team, and now I'm getting about 31, 34k with this particular team. With the double stun team, I went from like that 24, 27k, and again, jumping up to 31, 34. So when I fought with these, I was looking for a couple different things here to see like which one would probably clear faster and which one would feel more comfortable. And I do have the same thing that I said with the Evelyn stuff, to be honest, but here's the gist. Double stun feels a little bit faster, but not because of damage. Like I'm not getting the damage output with double stun. I'm getting faster stuns, so it feels like the fight is progressing faster, right? 3 minutes goes by like that because every other minute or every 30, 40 seconds, I'm getting a stun. And with the marionettes with double stun, I'm actually able to easily get 4+ stuns per run. When I ran with the support comp, for instance, or for contrary, right? Contrary to that, running with support comp felt more comfortable to play. But it also, how do I say it? Because both have tech. Both of them have like different forms of like, you can do this, you can do this here, you can cancel this, you can go into this. So it's not like one was above the other. And they both still got, relatively speaking, about the same scores. Both were in the 30k range from me playing, right? Not being a pro player or anything like that. Just like average Ellen play. I'm learning her and Ju Fufu and Sokaku at the same time. It's a lot, okay? So these are pretty decent scores for the most part. I'm sure you can get better scores or higher scores, but there's not a big difference. There's not a drastic difference, okay? If I throw Astra on the team instead of Sokaku, now I get less freezes, but now I'm more dependent on Ellen being ready. And I think that's another thing that I want to talk about is that like when playing the if you want to call it hypercarry, you can, but pretty much standard, right? Just putting Astra on this team, Astra kind of, it's almost like they work against each other. And I'm not saying it in that way, but it sounds that way because I'm saying it that way. Just it's confusing, okay? When I say that they work against each other, Ju Fufu's thing is trying to get the stun very fast. Astra's thing is trying to give you the damage all the time, right? Especially during stun window. But then Ellen, in particular, Ellen does not rack up resources as fast as she needs to. There's the ultimate that you want. There's freeze because now you don't have Sokaku on the team anymore. You're completely dependent on Ellen. And this is M0 Ellen, mind you. At M2, Ellen is way more comfortable to play because, you know, the EX2 is way more frequent. It only costs 40 energy instead of 80 energy. You're able to go into EX2 off of a variety of different moves, and EX2 is going to give you way more anomaly buildup, so it's easier for you to get those freezes, especially during or right before the stun window with just Ellen. But without those, not only are you not able to freeze and stun consistently, but every single stun, you're pretty much forced to have your ultimate ready. And if you don't have it ready, well, now you're sitting there spamming basic attack, which they did buff her basic attacks and her dodge counters or whatever it is, the EX specials, things like that. So she's still doing good damage, but she's not doing that consistent closer to 500,000, a mil, whatever it is that you're able to do with your Ellen. She's not doing that per stun. Your stunner is not going to help you do the damage. And then your support, Astra, is not helping you do that damage directly either. She's just buffing Ellen. So if I had to pin it, I would probably say the standard, the DPS, the stunner, and then the support has more of a, you need to know more, right? Like cancels, advanced tech, mechanics, the enemy itself. You need to know a lot more. With double stun, close your eyes, jack off, and like hit the screen. I don't know. You can literally just mash. You can mash your way to victory, and you're probably gonna get a lot more reward with double stun. But this isn't me trying to sell you on double stun. This is, again, going into everything that I'm talking about from the previous videos, and then speaking on what's coming up in the future. It is now viable. Double stun is actually viable now. If you want to run it, you can get, relatively speaking, the same scores. This much has been proven not from just myself, but from other players. With Yixuan, you're seeing that obviously with Hugo, because that's what he needs. But even then, people were doing the reverse. They were playing with one stunner in Astra, and they were still able to like one shot or get these clears with Hugo. So you're seeing more comfortable clears now from a variety of different players with double stun or with standard. And I like that. Again, I'll talk about this in another video because I don't want this one to be too long, but TLDR, it's good that we're moving into not really a meta shift per se, but the team comps are opening up, and the damage floor, or rather the damage capability, the capability of doing damage, it's rising together. It's not just, hey, Astra's way the fuck up here, only Astra does damage, or only supports do damage, right? Now it's double stun. This is almost the equivalent, like if you think about it from Honkai Star Rail, right? Where Star Rail's whole thing is you grab one support, you grab a sustain, and then you double buff them. You give them just 2 supports versus you having a actual team. And it took us almost a year before we got to that point where most players were able to build a complete team, like a full-on archetype. And an example of that would be like Fei Xiao, right? Fei Xiao, Robin, Moza, or Topaz, or March 7th. And then you have Aventurine, yeah, or Gallagher, whoever it is that you want. But the team is complete. It feels complete. They all function together. It's not a hypercarry. You're not just sacrificing, hey, I'm just gonna buff. Like, it's not like that. The same thing is happening in Zenless. Now, it's been happening from like a higher level player thing, but as far as the average players go, you're getting way more comfortable now. Or rather, you're getting more comfortable agents now. That's what I want to say. So to end it off, Ju Fufu, Ellen, I like it. It's cool. If you want a strong stunner, you already don't have lighter, you're already not using Lycan. Like me personally, I think Ju Fufu is better than Lycan. Not, obviously, she's limited. I'm saying for Ellen, I think that Ju Fufu Ellen is better than Ju Fufu Lycan, okay? Now, if we're talking about Ju Fufu Ellen versus lighter Ellen, 50-50, I got, relatively speaking, the same clear speeds with both teams. If I use Ju Fufu lighter Sokaku, or Ellen Ju Fufu Sokaku, or if I use Ellen lighter Sokaku, I got about the same clears. I think the main difference between these two teams when I was playing them was more along the lines of like how I played the team, right? Lighter, I can be a little bit more on field with. I have the quick assist punch that he has access to, versus with Ju Fufu, I have to manage her EX skills a little bit better. Also, towards the end, when I finished everything, all my testing, right? I activated M1 on Ju Fufu. I wanted to see if Ju Fufu M1, because I'm trying to make this decision for myself, if Ju Fufu M1 was more valid versus her W engine. Not even gonna lie to you, bro, there's not a difference. Not like when I say there's not a difference, I think I would rather M1 over the W engine. Me doing the W engine at M0, I'm getting stuff just fine, right? Still getting the same clears. M1, without the W engine, I was using Hellfire gears. My energy for EX skill was upkept a lot more, so I could pop out EX skills a lot more frequently. My impact was increased. All I did was swap out an impact 6 for attack 6 to make sure that I hit the 3400 cap. I could still run King of the Summit. I could still use a crit 4 if I needed to. She still increases her own impact. The energy regeneration, like I said, is really good. And I'm not noticing a big damage difference. I do lose out on, I think it's like 10 or 20% team-wide damage buff from her W engine. I do lose out on that, but then I made up for it by like running double stun, or if I wasn't running double stun, I had Astra in the bag or Sokaku. I like M1. M1 is nice. And I do believe double stun feels way more comfortable with M1. So if I could leave off with that, right? If you plan on playing double stun with Ellen, with Evelyn, with I guess Hugo, like I'm not the biggest fan of that one, but if you do plan on doing that, and even Soldier Zero Ambi, if you can afford it, right? If it's available to you, the option, I would personally grab M1 Ju Fufu and then P0. I think that's what it's called, right? M1 P0. I would not go for her W engine unless you're just balling, right? Like if you just got it like that, do it. But if you had to make a decision, I would pick M1 and then leave her engine alone. Get Hellfire gear, Steam Oven, whatever it is that you need, and she's good to go. Very comfortable character, very easy to play once you get the hang of her, right? It's really just more meter management. That's really all her thing is meter management, even to a point where, like, especially at M1, she doesn't even have to touch the field. You literally only bring her on the field to do EX skill and you call it a day. The stun damage multiplier is awesome because their off-field chain attacks count for what she needs to give you the multiplier. It's wonderful. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it. Those are the 3 videos that I wanted to wrap up for like who's playing what, or rather the characters that I'm playing on the test that I was doing. Hopefully my rambling made this make way more. Hopefully I made sense with my rambling. If I didn't, ask questions. I will answer them in the comments down below. I did enough testing to be able to comfortably answer some questions. Some things like, don't ask me like, hey bro, if I do 1 2 3, how much damage am I gonna get? Like, what's the damage difference between this and that? Did you do the calcs for that? No, I didn't. I played everything in game and then I barely wrote shit down. That's why I recorded everything. So now you guys have that info. Anyway, I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. I'm hungry. Smell you later.